So, when did the plan become music for you?
The plan.
Because you went to college, right?
I went to college, forestry. Yeah, and I would say the plan became music after I had a really great big success early on, where it felt like, well, this is working pretty good.
It's pretty simple, right?
Yeah, making music is easy and fun all the time. Yeah, this was never the plan. This I even think this conversation right now has come out of just saying, okay, yeah, I'll do it, to 100 things, and it's been a
It's
fun
funny
thing
you
to
say
follow.
that because so many people say, "Well, how did you get that person to interview with you?" And I asked. That's
Yeah.
all I did was ask,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then all you did was say yes.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's how the world works.
Yeah,
right.
that's right.
I love that though. Like the plan's not music until the big hit,
Yeah, yeah.
and then it's like, yeah, I could do this.
But the big hit came incredibly early.
Yeah,
you know,
incredibly.
I mean, so it was. But I still say this. I still say, man, if someone says, "Hey, we're doing this music series, but we're booked up for 2025. Could you come in, the fall of 2026?" And I'll think, I'm probably gonna have a paper route by then.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that I'm gonna be playing music. Like, it doesn't feel like I can plan that far ahead.
Right.
With it, even though probably that's what I'm going to be doing.
Well, somebody asked me, "Well, who is Susan Gibson?" Because I've been bragging a little bit that I get to talk to you.
That's sweet.
And I was like, "Well, she wrote Wide Open Spaces," and they were like, "Oh, I love that song." I was like, "Well, that's what makes her known, but that's not what makes her cool."
Oh, that's sweet.
Right.
Thank you for
So
that.
today is what makes you cool.
Yeah.
I want to tell people what makes you cool. I'm not sure. I'll ask you a question about that song. To be honest.
But what? Yeah, we don't have to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love the fact that you are cool, and it didn't the hit never defined who you are as an artist. At least I don't think so, right?
Yeah, I don't think so either. But I'll tell you, it has had it. It was a huge thing, and it was especially huge in the fact that I hadn't been writing for years and years to justify it.
Yeah.
Right. And so a lot of times there has been this feeling of, that imposter syndrome, like, oh, that was just a lottery ticket.
Fluke.
Yeah, what a fluke.
That's yourself beating yourself up. Yeah.
But I don't think that's what defines me. I don't think anybody that has come to more than 3 shows thinks that that's what defines me.
I mean, all we have to do is open the catalog and see who you are.
Well,
and that's what I mean by what makes you cool.
Thank you.
Because what makes you cool is the stories.
Yeah.
And that hit is only one story.
That's right. That's
You know what
right.
I mean?
But I will say that hit has generated some pretty good stories.
Damn
Like the
straight.
places I've gotten to go
Yeah.
and do because of the one song is really cool. But again, I don't think it's my best. I don't think it's not my favorite.
Well, I think the way I would look at it is the song got you to where you are, but other things kept you where you are.
That's a good way to look at it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So you got there because of the song, but
Yeah.
the door opened because of that. But
Yeah.
the door stayed open because
yeah,
you're pretty
thanks.
damn cool.
Thank you.
So forestry into music, I was
Yeah.
like, wow. Because a lot of times, for example, Bree Bagwell is a good example of somebody who went to school for something that has nothing to do with music, but it helped her with her music, and that's marketing and business.
Yeah.
Forestry is not exactly going to help you with music in any way.
I don't know,
right?
Boston. My first song was Wildflowers in the Weeds, and my second song was Evergreen.
Okay, fair point.
So I'm completely qualified to write songs about trees.
Fair point. Fair point. You could probably make rhymes out of words we've never heard.
I'll tell you, I don't know that forestry. Forestry. That's it was kind of a lesson in me examining the fact that I couldn't change my mind.
Yeah.
Because I said I wanted to be a forest ranger when I was about 6th grade. It was right at the end of my wrestling career fandom, and we had gone to Glacier Park, and I loved being in Glacier. We went hiking in Glacier Park, which is right 90 miles or 40 miles from our cabin, and I just thought, yeah, this is what I want to do. I want to live here, and I want to work here, and I want to know what that is, and I want to, well, forestry as a vein of study and as a career is agriculture. It's like how to have healthy forests and be able to predict how many board feet of timber that 20-year-old stand of yellow pine is going to make and
Right.
all this stuff. That's not what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
But I could not change my mind. Like, I probably should have switched to environmental studies or anything. You know, I loved my lab classes in college, and I really sucked at the other classes.
Looking back at it, would you change it?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't change. No, I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't change anything. I do believe that everything is just as it's supposed to be. But would I encourage myself to be more flexible? Yeah.
Yeah.
And not get so locked into an idea of this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
To where when it's not happening, go ahead and change tracks. Go ahead and turn around.
And we talked about life experiences
Yeah.
earlier and how they kind of prepare you for the next step. How did that prepare you for what ended up being for you?
The forestry.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I hate to say we don't have to talk about that song and then I bring it up into every conversation, but going to forestry school is when I wrote that song.
Okay.
So that song is autobiographical in the fact that I was leaving my folks in Amarillo and going up to Missoula, Montana, and I can tell you line by line in that song of how it's autobiographical. Yeah, or just how I thought it was so specific to my own life. I did not really even have a capacity to think that anyone else would resonate with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she traveled this road as a child. Well, that's us going back and forth from wherever to Montana.
Incredible.
You know, I mean, and now she won't be coming back with the rest. That's because my parents took me up there for a summer and then they drove home and I went to school.
Yeah.
You know, and so like that, going to school for something that I was not interested in or didn't think or thought I was interested in, but I wasn't, or whatever, got me the song that then said, hey, why don't you think about music? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so the success of that experience didn't have anything to do with that experience,
It's
except
incredible.
for it just gave me this little diamond,
Yeah.
you know, to
Let me
carry.
ask you this. So the song we're referring to is obviously Wide Open Spaces.
Yeah.
And this is a perspective-based song. You're using she, her.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Instead of I.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. Because you know what? And somebody pointed this out to me the other day. And that song, I wrote that song in 1992. You know? And this is the first time I ever talked about it, thought about it.
Yeah.
Was, who doesn't know what I'm talking about? And then the second verse says, a young girl's dream. It introduces this third vague character.
Right. It's not
right?
you. It's somebody.
Yeah. I don't know why I did that. I didn't know shit about writing songs when I
Yeah.
wrote that song. You know what I mean?
It works.
I found, well, it does, but you know what? I think about this all the time. Never in a million years would I write that song today,
Yeah.
because it does a lot of things that I would say, don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't jump perspective in a song.
Yeah.
Right? And so I got this incredible thing that before I knew anything about it,
Yep.
you know? And if I knew what I know today, back when I wrote that song, I never would have written
Well,
that song.
thankfully you didn't.
I know,
because,
isn't that
some
I'm
of the
so
greatest
lucky.
songs in the history of music are written without the rules in mind.
Yeah.
The dance, we talked about it before
Yeah.
we recorded, doesn't have a bridge,
Yeah.
right? The
Yeah.
song was completely, never saw the light of day for
Yeah.
ages and ages and ages until
Yeah.
Garth heard Tony play it at the Bluebird or
Yeah.
somewhere in Nashville. And Tony was just like, you like that?
Yeah.
It's not done yet.
Yeah.
He was like, no, it's done.
Oh, it's done.
Right? But there's no bridge. So sometimes the rules need to not be there.
Yeah.
And that's when the great songs come out. Right?
Sure. Yeah.
I love